how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for meeting with me for the Metal Talk
Yeah,
TV.
of course. Of course. Yeah.
First off, I saw you at Download last year and you were great. It was like a ridiculously hot, sunny morning, and yet you still managed to leave us all with chills. Um,
Thank you so much.
so I just wanted to start off with, is it ever hard to maintain character and atmosphere on stage?
No, I mean, that's who I am.
Mhm. Do you have
So,
any like rituals as to how you start to like create that, or does it just come naturally?
as I said, that's me. Like there's nothing to, it's just me. I think that's, yeah.
Brilliant. Um, so I think one of the most striking elements of your music is the distortion of your voice. And I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of debate online. How much of this is you and how much of it is like audio effects?
I mean, I love to work with vocal effects, like
Mhm.
pitching my vocals, because it helps me to tell a story better.
Yeah.
With like the high pitched vocals, it's more like kind of like childlike, like innocent, like kind of like ironic a little bit. You can give so much character with like
Mhm.
changing the voices. um I mean, obviously the recordings, they're all edited, like
Yeah.
obviously. But in the beginning, I with Richard Ramirez, for example, that was for like the chorus. That's like the my real voice.
Mhm.
Like obviously it's recorded and it's edited, but it's like my real voice. But for like the live shows, I play with the natural voice, or me actually changing the voice.
Hmm.
Um, and also with the pitched vocals effects. But I like to play with it, because
Yeah.
it helps me to tell the story in my way, and how I hear it or how I visualize it in my head. So yeah,
Yeah, it's really effective. I really like it.
thank you.
Um, so your upcoming tour with Iceland Kills is a really interesting combination for any fans of like the horror music genre. Can you give us any idea what we can expect?
I mean, the obvious thing you can expect is that what I sing about is true and
Mhm.
what they sing about is fiction. So um, I mean, I won't, as always, I won't be entertaining like or talking during the live show. It's just me telling the story and leaving the stage.
Mhm.
So that's that. So I think the biggest thing is that my stories, or the songs I sing about, are about true events or
Mhm.
true crime, which with Eyes Night Kills is totally the opposite.
Yeah. And what drew you to telling real cases as opposed to like the fictional horror?
What again? Sorry.
What drew you to covering real crime as opposed to fictional horror?
Um, I mean, then I think then we have to start in like my childhood,
Mhm.
because it began really, really early when I was 3, 4 years old, when I
Mhm.
was really, really young. I My imaginary friend appeared for the first time, and he was actually the one, like he introduced himself as Skinned, and he was always same age as me. I mean, he's still here. I can still see him. And he was the one actually planting, the seeds of like, the world isn't just good, it's also bad. And he started telling me stories about it, like it started off with like smaller things, but then it got into true crime, like, and all those stories, it sparked something in me. I started getting like drawn, to those horrible stories he also whispered into my ears. And because he was always there and telling me about it, I had to like finding a way how to get it off my chest, you know. And really early on, I started listening to Pink Floyd, The Wall. And the wall is inspired by true events as well. So there were artists, they did that before, and I was like, why don't I just like write music? And my imaginary friend Skynd, he was always like, you should do that. You should write music about it, and you know, get your emotions to it. That's how you can process it, because he will never leave my side, you know. He will never disappear. So I have to find, or I had to find a way how to cope with that. So I mean, even even if he's like my friend, sometimes it's just like, it's hard because you get confronted by it like all the time, most of the time. But it's a relief, and it's also therapy to just write about it. And that's how it started. And but it took a lot of courage to actually do so, because I didn't know, like in the beginning, I didn't really know how people are going to react to what I do, you know. And I expected a big backlash, and that happily never happened the way I expected it. And I started to gain, you know, this confidence in it. And now I feel like it has been the best decision for me to write about true crime. Yeah. That's how it started.
That was one thing I wanted to ask you about, actually, because there's a lot of talk at the moment about how we present real life trauma in media. And I wonder if there's any boundaries you've set to make sure that you're being respectful, because obviously it's real people that you're talking about.
So, you know, I like to see Skynd as myself, as someone who in the future is able to give back as well. And I feel like what I want to do, and what is really important nowadays, is to open up a conversation about mental health, because true crime is connected to mental health. And it is what makes us, you know, human, our mental health. And what happened as a child can affect the way you live your life as an adult, you know. So I feel like it's to me, it's really important to talk about it, maybe to have a foundation one day to get like the help of, like, to get, like, how you say that, like, to help people who are victims of abuse, or of, you know, you never know, you know, people who need help. And I feel like that's something I want to do in the future, because I feel it's so important to talk about it, and not turn a blind eye on those people. I mean, even though Ted Bundy is a monster, he is still a human being. Eileen Warnes, for example, I love to take her as an example. I mean, she lashed out when she was 31. That's not a serial killer from the books, because it's just not. She never acted out as a child, but she got abused as a very young child onto her adult years many times. And that's like, you know, all those things. It's a human being in the end, you know, like it's, and I feel like it's really important to talk about it. And I feel like it's a good, it's like a good, how you say that, change to see that when you open up TikTok, for example. I mean, it's obvious whatever you're searching for will appear. But then again, I see a lot of people talking about, you know, narcissism, about ADHD. To me, it's therapy to see people, especially women or girls or teenage girls, talking about their ADHD, because I wasn't diagnosed for a very long time, and I suffered from this. And to know that there are others out there sharing their story, I think that's a great change to see in such a dark world we're living in.
Definitely. Yeah. So would you say that that's the message that you want people to take away from your music, kind of to focus on the mental health side, or what kind of message do you want people to take away?
I mean, I mean, I don't want to sound too grotesque, but what I want is to educate people and to make them think about it, because it is important to not forget what happened. Also, history.
Yeah.
Why is history always repeating itself? Because there's no change. It will, if we won't remember what happened, and that's like, I feel like human beings are really good in like not remembering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's sad to see, you know. And I feel like it's important to, through art, to get a conversation going, to open up a conversation, to open up a discussion, even if you don't like my music, whatever, but you think about it.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
that moment, it won't leave you cold if you know I wrote a song about Eliza Lamb. And in the first thing, like when you first listen to that song, and then you're like, it's so easy to criticize it and be like, oh, she wrote a song about the victim, but you won't forget, otherwise you will. And it's my way of telling you, please don't, because it's still an unsolved case. We still have no idea what happened to her. Or cults, Jim Jones, fucking happened so many times all over the world. People get brainwashed day by day. And it's like, maybe if I can help you to maybe wake up from being brainwashed, I don't know, for maybe, you know, taking that topic, cult, you know, for example, to read about it. And maybe you're in a cult yourself, and then you're like, oh, what the fuck. Maybe if you're in a cult, you won't listen to my music, but that's another story. No, but you know, maybe you get the point. Like, it's
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I know it all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just a feeling I want to get out. And with Skynd, my imaginary friend, by my side, it's just this, I need to do this. And I want people to think also, when you or it's like crazy to see that when you're playing live and you see people dancing to like Michelle Carter. Sometimes I'm just staying there and I'm just looking at them and I'm like, do you know what I'm singing about? Because you're just dancing to it. No offense. Then whatever you want to do, don't forget. And it's maybe grotesque to say that because I sing about it, but it's like I feel like it's just something also to get like this education of like human psyche and psychological or how you say that, the human psyche, and it's psychological. That's
like the psychiatry.
Psychiatry. I mean, you can also learn a lot about yourself by investigating those cases. And if my music helps you to investigate a case and maybe learn something about yourself or whatever, why not?
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any like kind of boundaries as to, are there any kind of cases you wouldn't cover? Is anything off limits?
I mean, as I said, it's really important to not turn a blind eye on any case, because I feel any case could be a great song or could be or is important to write about, you know? But obviously it also comes down to emotions and to where to draw the line, obviously, as well. You know, I want to stay really respectful to all the cases and with the lyrics and whatever. And some cases it makes it really hard to not get too emotionally involved. Like with Chris Watts, for example, I wasn't really sure if I want to really write about it, but it was like I had to, so I had to find a way to make it happen. But some cases are maybe too brutal yet for me to fully understand, and it also depends on creativity. Like if it sparks something, a case, I can hear something, if I can visualize it. And some cases just don't. And some cases they need to like grow on me. So yeah, but there's like one case, for example, Anders Breivik, you know, the guy from Norway. I mean, this is a heavy one, if you think about it. This one is, you know, kids involved, and it's super political as well. It's terror, it's so much in one case. And to cover a case like this, or to translate it into music, there are so many emotions involved, especially with kids. It makes it so hard.
Yeah, definitely.
So some cases I just put aside, and maybe if I feel like now I'm ready to do it, then I start writing about it. But otherwise, I just trying to put it aside.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Now, I know you will have been asked this a lot, but is there a full album on the horizon?
And
is there a full album on the horizon? Are you thinking of?
no.
Not yet.
No, because there's a simple explanation to it. Because every single song or every single track I make are like true crime cases. And I feel like every single case deserves the spotlight. And if I come up with like an album of like 12 songs or 10, there might be going to be like maybe 2 singles.
Yeah.
And they get the spotlight, and I have to decide which ones. I'm not going to do that. And it's, even if it's not the normal way to go, because people just expect that, but they just don't see the point behind it. Because I'm not going to throw out 12 cases and be like, bye. No, I want to stay really respectful to all of them.
Yeah.
What I could imagine is if I have like the Wall of Pink Floyd, you know, you have like one topic and you write about it. But that has to be some bigger event than just one person, I feel like.
Okay.
If I could imagine that. But as I'm like doing it right now with the chapters, it's a book I'm writing. So I'm not seeing, or I won't be changing that.
Okay, cool. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to hear what you get to next.
Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been brilliant.
Thanks, Gabriella.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.